There's a retirement hack that financial advisors will never tell you because they can't bill you for it. Move to a panhandle town, not the Florida everyone fights over, not the Texas everyone ignores. The actual panhandles, where the cost of living is so low it feels like a clerical error, and the quality of life is so high it feels like a scam. Today we're counting down 12 panhandle towns, split across Florida and Texas, where retirees aren't just surviving, they're thriving. And some of these places are so cheap, your Social Security check might actually feel like a raise. We're talking about a town in Texas where the water is so naturally fluoridated that dentists historically had nothing to do. A Florida town built around a lake so perfectly circular that scientists still argue about whether nature or aliens made it. A Route 66 ghost town that inspired a Pixar movie. And a Jimmy Buffett retirement village that's already sold 2,000 homes to people who apparently want to die in flip-flops. If any of that sounds interesting, you should probably subscribe, because clearly you have taste. Let's get into it. Now, quick geography note for anyone confused. The Florida Panhandle is the strip along the Gulf of Mexico that runs from Pensacola to Tallahassee. People call it the Emerald Coast, the Forgotten Coast, and sometimes affectionately Lower Alabama. The Texas Panhandle is the rectangular chunk sticking up from the top of the state, home to Amarillo, cattle ranches, and some of the flattest terrain on Earth. Both regions share no state income tax. Both are dramatically cheaper than wherever you're probably living right now. And both have towns on this list that will genuinely surprise you. Number 12. Fort Walton Beach. If Destin is the prom queen of the Emerald Coast, Fort Walton Beach is her cooler, more affordable sister who actually has a personality. This city sits right next door to Destin along the Gulf of Mexico, shares the same turquoise water and sugar white sand, but doesn't charge you $500,000 for the privilege of looking at it. The average home in Fort Walton Beach runs around $325,000. That's roughly 5% below the national average for housing. Destin, by comparison, starts around $480,000 and climbs north of $600,000 depending on which source you trust. Same beach, same water, wildly different price tag. Nearly 40% of the population here is over 45, so you're not going to feel like the old person at a college party. HCA Florida, Fort Walton Destin Hospital, is right in town, which matters more than you think when you're picking a retirement spot. The Gulfarium Marine Adventure Park is a local landmark where dolphins perform and sea turtles rehab, and Okaloosa Island gives you a less crowded stretch of beach than anything Destin offers. The vibe here is more hook-and-cook seafood restaurant than boutique resort, and for retirees who want the Gulf Coast lifestyle without the Gulf Coast markup, that's the whole point. You can walk down Okaloosa Island at sunset and see maybe a dozen other people. Try that in Destin in March, and you'll need a traffic cop. Fort Walton Beach also has a senior living anchor called The Retreat, which provides a local community for retirees who want something structured. Combine that with the mild winters where temperatures rarely dip below 40, and you've got a beach retirement that won't empty your savings account in the first 3 years. Number 11, Hereford. Welcome to the beef capital of the world, where over 1 million cattle are being fed within a 50-mile radius at any given moment. If you've ever driven through the Texas Panhandle and smelled something intense around Deaf Smith County, congratulations, you found Hereford. The smell aside, this town has some genuinely wild numbers. The median home value sits around $116,500. That's not a down payment somewhere else. That's a whole house. The population is roughly 15,000, about 78% Hispanic, and the culture here leans deeply agricultural and family-oriented. The local quirk that made Hereford semi-famous is its water. The aquifers underneath this part of Texas, primarily the Ogallala, are so naturally rich in fluoride that Hereford earned the nickname the town without a toothache. Dentists historically struggled for business. The water was doing their job for free. Hereford Regional Medical Center serves the town, which gives you local health care without driving an hour to Amarillo. There are almost no HOAs out here. Property taxes benefit from the expanded senior homestead exemption that Texas voters approved in November 2025. And your dollar stretches further here than almost anywhere else on this list. The town itself is quiet in the way that only a farming community can be. Friday night football is a big deal. The local grocery store knows your name by the second visit. And the sunsets over the Llano Estacado are the kind of flat horizon, full sky spectacles that make you understand why painters kept coming out here. The trade-off is obvious. The nearest ocean is over 500 miles away. Entertainment options are limited, and the feedlot smell is real, especially on hot days when the wind shifts. But if you want wide open skies, cheap beef, and the satisfaction of paying off a house with what other people spend on a kitchen remodel, Hereford delivers. You'll just want to invest in a good air freshener. Number 10. Milton. About 25 miles northeast of Pensacola, tucked along the banks of the Blackwater River, Milton is the affordable panhandle town that nobody talks about and everybody should. The median home value here is around $263,000, making it one of the cheapest spots in the western Florida Panhandle. Nearly 19% of the population is over 65, so there's already a built-in retirement community, and the overall cost of living runs below the national average. The Blackwater River is the main attraction, and it's gorgeous. One of the purest sand-bottom rivers in the country, it draws tubers, kayakers, and canoeists from across the southeast. Blackwater River State Park is minutes away, and if you're the type of retiree who'd rather float downstream with a cooler than sit in a golf cart, Milton was built for you. Downtown Milton is small, walkable, and full of antique shops that feel like they've been there since before the internet. The Panhandle Butterfly House is a surprisingly charming hidden gem. And Pensacola's hospitals, beaches, and restaurants are a 25-minute drive down the road, which means you get big city access with small-town pricing. The population is around 10,900, small enough that you'll recognize faces at the post office, but large enough that you're not living in total isolation. The nearby Innas Whiting Field, a naval aviation training base, provides some local economic stability and a military community that blends seamlessly with the civilian retirees. This is not a glamorous town. You won't find influencers posing here. Nobody is making TikToks on the Blackwater River, and honestly, that might be the best thing about it. Milton is for people who want a genuinely quiet life near genuinely beautiful water, and who don't need a luxury address to feel good about where they landed. Number 9. Shamrock. Population around 1,800, about 22% over age 65. Located on Route 66 in Wheeler County in the far eastern edge of the Texas Panhandle. None of that sounds remarkable. Until you see the building. The 1936 Art Deco Tower Station, and you drop in, is one of the most photographed structures on the entire Mother Road, and it's the building that directly inspired Ramon's body shop in Pixar's Cars. Over 10,000 visitors a year come from more than 70 countries to see it, take photos, and leave. The town itself is smaller than most high school graduating classes. Shamrock also has a genuine fragment of Ireland's Blarney Stone sitting in Elmore Park. They host a real St. Patrick's Day celebration every March that draws crowds from across the region. And the town's historic water tower stands 172 feet tall, the tallest in Texas. Housing here is dirt cheap. The remote location and small population keep prices well below even the modest Texas Panhandle averages. The town has a weathered, beautiful quality to it, like a place that's been earning its character one decade at a time for over 100 years. If you're a retiree who loves roadside Americana, a quiet pace of life, and owning a home that costs less than a luxury sedan, Shamrock is absurdly charming. You could buy a house here, fix it up, and still have money left over for a road trip down the rest of Route 66. The trade-off is real, though. You're about an hour and a half from Amarillo, which is the nearest city with a major hospital. So this one is best for retirees who are in good health and comfortable being a bit off the grid. If that's you, Shamrock will love you back. Number 8. Niceville. The name alone makes this town sound like it was invented by a tourism board. It wasn't. Niceville is a real place with about 14,000 to 16,500 residents, sitting on Choctawhatchee Bay right next to Eglin Air Force Base, one of the largest military installations in the world. That military connection matters because Niceville has become one of the most popular retirement destinations for military veterans and their families along the Emerald Coast. HCA, Florida. Twin Cities Hospital is right in town, which means you don't have to drive to Fort Walton Beach or Pensacola for serious medical care. The surprise here is the culture. The Maddie Kelly Arts Center is a legitimate performing arts venue that hosts symphony performances, Broadway touring shows, and fine art exhibitions. For a town this small, that's unusual. Blue Water Bay Marina gives you access to the bay for fishing and boating. And the Heritage Museum of Northwest Florida covers local history going back thousands of years. Quality of life in Niceville is consistently rated high, though long-time residents note that growth and traffic have been increasing as more people discover the area. The cost of living is moderate by Emerald Coast standards, not the cheapest option on this list, but you're paying for a town that genuinely earns its name. The beaches of Destin and Fort Walton Beach are 15 to 20 minutes away. Eglin Air Force Base provides a stable economic base that buffers the town from the tourism boom and bust cycle that hits other Panhandle communities. If you're a military retiree who wants to stay near a base, or anyone who values a quiet bay town with unexpectedly good arts programming, Niceville punches well above its weight. Number 7, Apalachicola. If you drive far enough east along the Florida Panhandle, past the spring break towns and the condo towers, you reach what locals call the Forgotten Coast. And the crown jewel of the Forgotten Coast is Apalachicola, a working fishing village with a population of about 2,300 and a median age of roughly 52. This town has been harvesting oysters from Apalachicola Bay for generations. The working waterfront still has fishing boats coming in every morning, and the annual Florida Seafood Festival draws thousands of visitors to a place that otherwise operates like the rest of the world forgot it exists, which frankly is part of the appeal. The cost of living in Apalachicola runs approximately at the national average, and housing comes in below many other Gulfside communities. The historic downtown is a brick street grid of galleries, cafes, and small shops. St. George Island, one of the best undeveloped barrier islands in the state, is a short bridge ride away. The pace of life here is slow in the way that people actually mean when they say they want slow. Not slow with a Whole Foods and a spin studio. Slow as in, you might spend a Tuesday morning watching pelicans dive bomb for mullet off the waterfront while drinking coffee from the only cafe in a 3-block radius. And it will be one of the better Tuesdays you've had in years. The downside is infrastructure. There's no major hospital right in town. The nearest full-service facilities are in Panama City, about an hour west. Restaurants and shops close early or seasonally. If you need quick access to an emergency room or a Target, that's a factor. If you're healthy, active, and want to retire somewhere that feels like Florida did 40 years ago, before the condos swallowed the coastline, Apalachicola is that place. Just bring your own expectations down to the waterline, and you'll be fine. All right, quick pause. If you're enjoying this video and you've made it this far, you're clearly my kind of viewer. Hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who are trying to figure out where to live without going broke. And subscribe if you haven't, because I cover towns like these every single week, and the algorithm needs a little encouragement to keep sending you the good stuff. Now, here's where the list starts to get really interesting, because these next 6 towns are the ones that made me rethink what retirement could actually look like. Number 6, Canyon. 20 miles south of Amarillo, Canyon is a college town of about 15,000 to 16,000 people that sits on the rim of something genuinely breathtaking. Palo Duro, Canyon State Park, often called the Grand Canyon of Texas, drops over 800 feet deep and stretches roughly 60 miles through the high plains landscape. It is the second largest canyon in the United States, and almost nobody outside of Texas knows it exists. Canyon is the gateway to all of it. West Texas A&M University gives the town a college town energy with lectures, sporting events, and performing arts. The Panhandle Plains Historical Museum is the largest history museum in Texas, covering everything from dinosaur fossils to Comanche artifacts to oil boom relics. And every summer, the outdoor musical drama Texas performs inside the canyon itself, under the open sky, in a natural amphitheater carved by millions of years of erosion. The cost of living runs about 11% below the national average. Home values range from around $240,000 to $268,000. Violent crime rates are very low, and the 47-foot Tex Randall cowboy statue stands guard over the town like a fiberglass patron saint. Faith Medical Clinic serves Canyon directly, and Amarillo's full hospital systems are 20 minutes north, which covers the healthcare gap without requiring a major drive. The winters here are genuine, with occasional snow and temperatures that dip below freezing, but the trade-off is 4 real seasons, something most Florida retirees never get to experience. Canyon feels like a Hallmark movie come to life, except the houses are actually affordable, and the canyon behind town is real. You can wake up, drive 10 minutes, and hike into a landscape that looks like it belongs in Utah. Then drive back to a college town with a good coffee shop and a museum full of dinosaur bones. For retirees who want scenery, culture, and a cost of living that doesn't require a financial planner's intervention, Canyon is one of the best kept secrets in the American West. Honestly, this might be the entry on the list that makes me want to move. Number 5, DeFuniak Springs. This is the one that breaks people's brains. DeFuniak Springs is an inland Walton County town that almost nobody has heard of, built around a spring-fed lake that is nearly perfectly circular. Geologists have debated the lake's origin for decades. Some say it's a sinkhole, some say it's a karst formation. Nobody has fully settled the question. The lake just sits there, perfectly round, ringed by Victorian-era homes, looking like it was drawn with a compass. And the prices here are almost unreal by Florida standards. Many homes sell under $200,000. Some retirees in the area report total monthly living costs in the range of $1,200 to $1,500, which in Florida feels like a typo. The downtown is small, walkable, and historic. Falling Waters State Park is nearby, home to Florida's tallest waterfall, which drops into a cylindrical sinkhole surrounded by ferns and moss. It's only about 73 feet tall, but in a state where elevation is a generous term, it counts. There's no hospital right in town. You're about 30 minutes from Fort Walton Beach or 45 minutes from Crestview for full-service medical care. The beaches are also a drive. You're inland here, which is the exact reason the prices are so low. The town has a quiet, slightly eccentric energy, the kind of place where a retired school teacher and a guy who restores antique clocks are neighbors, and both of them seem completely at peace with their choices. There's a small library that claims to be one of the oldest continuously operating libraries in Florida, and the Chautauqua Hall of Brotherhood, a Victorian-era auditorium, still hosts community events on the lake's edge. If you want the Florida Panhandle lifestyle on the absolute tightest budget possible, DeFuniak Springs is the play. It's quiet, it's strange, it's beautiful, and it costs less to live here than almost anywhere else in the Sunshine State. Just be prepared for the question you'll get from everyone you tell. Where? Number 4, Canadian. In the middle of the Texas Panhandle, surrounded by miles of flat grassland in every direction, there is a small town in the Canadian River Valley that makes no sense and is completely wonderful. Canadian Texas has a population of about 2,300 people. Hemphill County, where it sits, is one of the wealthiest counties per capita in all of Texas, thanks to the Anadarko Basin, natural gas field, and generations of cattle ranching money. The average home value is around $128,000. And somehow, this tiny High Plains town has a THX certified movie theater. The 1909 Palace Theater was restored and equipped with sound quality that you'd normally find in a major metro. The Citadel Art Foundation showcases contemporary art in a setting that looks like it belongs in Santa Fe, not the Texas Panhandle. There's an annual fall foliage festival that's been running since the 1950s, which is remarkable considering nobody associates the Texas Panhandle with fall foliage. The Canadian River Valley is an exception. Cottonwood trees line the water, and for a few weeks every autumn, the valley turns gold and red in a landscape that otherwise trends toward brown and beige. Canadian also hosts one of the oldest rodeos in Texas and a 4th of July celebration that draws the entire county. Hemphill County Hospital provides local medical care, and Amarillo's hospitals are about 2 hours west if you need anything more specialized. The people here are friendly in the way that only a town of 2,300 can manage. The kind of friendly where someone will bring you a casserole when you move in, and then invite you to the rodeo the following weekend, and then you're somehow on the planning committee for the fall festival by October. If you're subscribed to this channel, you already know I love the weird ones. Canadian, Texas is a weird one. A wealthy, cultured, beautiful, tiny anomaly on the high plains. And it's wonderful. Number 3, Pensacola. Pensacola is the westernmost city on the Florida Panhandle, sitting so close to the Alabama border that the culture here feels more deep south than tropical Florida. And for retirees, that cultural blend creates something special. U.S. News ranked Pensacola as Florida's top retirement city in 2023. The median home value ranges from about $266,000 to $320,000 depending on the source. And the overall cost of living runs somewhere between 2 and 9% below the national average. For a city with over 50 miles of Gulf coastline, those numbers are remarkable. Healthcare infrastructure is deep. Baptist Healthcare and Ascension, Sacred Heart, both operate here, giving you multiple hospital systems to choose from. Naval Air Station Pensacola is home to the Blue Angels Flight Demonstration Squadron, and the National Naval Aviation Museum is one of the largest air and space museums in the world, admission-free. Perdido Key and Big Lagoon State Park offer quieter beach experiences away from the tourist strip. The historic downtown is walkable, with local restaurants, breweries, and a growing arts scene. Pensacola State College runs community education programs specifically designed for older adults. The weather is subtropical, with roughly 325 sunny days per year, and winters mild enough that a light jacket handles most of January. The summers are hot and humid, which is the standard Florida disclaimer, but Gulf breezes along the coast take the edge off compared to inland cities like Orlando or Jacksonville. The caveat is crime. Pensacola's violent crime rate runs above the national average, concentrated in specific neighborhoods. Do your research on the street level, not just the city level. East Hill, Cordova Park, and the beach communities tend to rate significantly safer than other zip codes. If you pick the right neighborhood, Pensacola offers a combination of affordability, healthcare, culture, and coastline that's genuinely hard to beat in Florida. There's a reason it keeps showing up at the top of retirement rankings. The place delivers. Number 2, Amarillo. If Canyon is the charming college town on the canyon's rim, Amarillo is the full-service city 20 miles north that makes the whole region work. 200,000 people live here, and for the Texas Panhandle, that makes Amarillo the big city, the medical hub, the cultural center, and the economic engine all rolled into one. The cost of living runs about 18% below the national average. Housing sits around 42% lower. Median home prices range from about $207,000 to $232,500. Investopedia has named Amarillo to its top 100 retirement cities, and several outlets have listed it among the best retirement picks in the American Southwest. BSA Health System and Northwest Texas Healthcare System anchor the medical infrastructure, including a dedicated heart and vascular center. There's a VA resource center for veterans. You're covered. Palo Duro Canyon is 30 miles south. Cadillac Ranch, the art installation where 10 Cadillacs are buried nose first in a wheat field along Interstate 40, is a few miles west. The Route 66 historic district runs through town. Amarillo has a symphony, an opera, a ballet, and rodeos. And yes, the Big Texan Steak Ranch still offers a free 72-ounce steak to anyone who can eat it in under an hour. Texas passed expanded senior property tax exemptions in November 2025, raising the combined school district homestead exemption to $200,000 for residents over 65. If your home appraises at or below that amount, your school property taxes drop to zero. In Amarillo, where homes are already cheap, that's a meaningful difference on a fixed income. The climate here is 4 genuine seasons with low humidity. Winters bring occasional snow, but rarely brutal cold. Summers are hot and dry, which is actually more comfortable than the humid Gulf Coast for a lot of people. The skies are enormous. If you've never experienced a high plains thunderstorm rolling in across 50 miles of open ground, it's something else entirely. The honest trade-off is crime. Amarillo's crime rate is above average nationally, and vehicle theft is a particular problem. The south and southwest sides of town tend to be quieter and safer. Pick your neighborhood carefully, visit before you commit, and talk to people who actually live there. Beyond that, Amarillo gives you everything a retiree needs at prices that feel like a time machine back to 2005. A $200,000 house, no state income tax, senior property tax exemptions, and a canyon 30 minutes away that will make you forget you ever wanted to live in Arizona. Number 1, Panama City Beach. This is the big one. The town that's attracted more organized retirement money than anywhere else on the Panhandle. If you've been watching this whole list thinking, these towns sound great, but I want a turnkey retirement community where everything is already figured out, then Panama City Beach has exactly what you're looking for. And it comes with a Margaritaville logo. Latitude Margaritaville Watersound is the Jimmy Buffett branded 55-plus community that opened in May 2021 near Panama City Beach, developed by Minto Communities and the St. Joe Company. By December 2024, they had sold their 2,000th home. The first phase alone plans for roughly 3,500 homes, and the whole thing operates like a permanent vacation that you actually live in. Homes start in the $300,000 and come with resort-style amenities, a town center you can drive a golf cart to, live music venues, pickleball courts, fitness centers, pools, and a social calendar packed with enough events to fill every day of the week if you want it to. The community sits near the coast with beach access and the broader Panama City Beach restaurant and entertainment scene within easy reach. Panama City proper, on the mainland side, offers more affordable housing with median home values around $282,000 and property tax rates around 1.09%. The broader metro area has solid hospital coverage, a growing dining scene, and access to both Gulf beaches and inland waterways. The caveat for all of Panama City Beach is hurricane risk. This area took a direct hit from Hurricane Michael in 2018, and rebuilding has shaped the local real estate market and insurance landscape ever since. Home insurance premiums in Florida are the highest in the nation, averaging over $8,200 a year statewide. Coastal properties in flood zones can run significantly higher than that. If you can stomach the insurance costs and the occasional hurricane evacuation, Panama City Beach offers something no other town on this list can match. A pre-built social life, beach access, and a retirement community that was literally designed around the idea that your golden years should feel like a vacation. Whether you're the type to drive a golf cart to happy hour or the type to fish off a pier until the sun goes down, Panama City Beach has built a retirement ecosystem that covers both ends of the spectrum. It's not the cheapest town on this list. It's not the quietest, but it might be the most complete package for someone who wants their retirement to feel like it was engineered specifically for them. Because at Latitude Margaritaville, it literally was, and that's the list. 12 towns across 2 panhandles, from Gulf Coast fishing villages where oysters cost less than appetizers in most cities, to High Plains Canyon towns where you can buy a house for what other people spend on an SUV. If this video helped you find a town you'd never considered, do me a favor and drop a like. It takes half a second and it helps this channel more than you'd think. Subscribe if you want more deep dives on the best places to live, retire, and stretch your money in America. I'll see you in the next one.